What's going on, you guys? It's Rahul here, back again with another video, and today I'm gonna be coming out with a quick little video, and it's just gonna be my finals preview and predictions, since I thought it would just be cool to, come out here and give my prediction for the NBA Finals, since they are very soon. In fact, I'm recording this like minutes before the finals start, so you might get this right when Game 1 starts, but yeah, I'm just gonna come out here and give my prediction for the NBA Finals. So yeah, before this video does get started, you guys know what to do. Like the video if you enjoyed it, it really helps out the channel, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy this type of content so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'm finally gonna do a face reveal. But with that being said, let's get this video started. So the way I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to do like a quick rundown of the team, and then I'm going to do some matchups, I guess, for like how they're going to match up against each other. And then I'm going to give my X factors. Then finally, I'm going to give my predictions. So let's start out with the Phoenix Suns. So the Phoenix Suns, they got a really, really good team. There's a reason why they were the 2 seed in the Western Conference and made it all the way here. So just doing a quick rundown of their team. It's a really good. You got one of the best backcourts in the league in Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and then you got a very solid big man in DeAndre Ayton, who's been really good for them in the playoffs. And then you got a lot of good role players like Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Cameron Payne, and yeah, etc. I mean, a lot of good role players on this team. So overall, Phoenix is a really, really good team. But yeah, getting to how I think the Suns will match up against the Milwaukee Bucks, I would probably put Chris Paul on Drew Holiday, since, Chris Paul, he's easily the better defensive player than Devin Booker, and even though Chris Paul's not the same like elite defender that he once was, he's still a pretty good defensive player, and I do think he can hold his own against Drew Holiday. So I definitely put Chris Paul on Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton, I mean, I'd probably put Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges, a really good defensive player, and honestly, I think he can definitely hold his own against Chris Middleton. So I mean, I'd definitely put him on Chris Middleton. And then we got Giannis Antetokounmpo, which might be kind of difficult, but if I were the Suns, I would try and emulate the wall defense that the Toronto Raptors and Miami Heat used against the Milwaukee Bucks when they beat them in the playoffs, since that's proved to work against Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, part of it's also the fact that Mike Budenholzer didn't make adjustments at that time, and we don't know if he will do. I mean, we'll talk more about that later, but yeah, I definitely use the wall defense. It's really proved to really slow down Giannis and, prevents him from getting into the paint. And, the paint is where Giannis absolutely eats. So, yeah, I'd definitely try and emulate the wall defense. And I guess you can have a combination of Jay Crowder and DeAndre Ayton on Giannis Antetokounmpo. DeAndre Ayton, obviously, he's the bigger and, stronger player than Jay Crowder. But Jay Crowder, I mean, he's a pretty strong guy, of course. But, yeah, Jay Crowder, I mean, he's proved he can hold his own against guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo. And despite being an undersized power forward, I mean, he can hold his own against big men. And in fact, funnily enough, in the 2020 playoffs, he was a big reason why the Miami Heat ended up beating the Milwaukee Bucks. So, I mean, that's something cool. But yeah, obviously, I'd definitely do like a mix of Jay Crowder and DeAndre Ayton. So yeah, that's what I'd do for the matchups for the Phoenix Suns. But yeah, getting to my X factors for the Phoenix Suns, I think a big X factor for them is really Jay Crowder. He's probably got to be the biggest X factor in this series for Phoenix, because Jay Crowder, there's been times when he's, been brick city from 3, but then there's been times when he just can't miss. So he's gonna definitely need to shoot very well from 3. I mean, you really got to. He has to really be very good in, from 3, because the Bucks, if they see that Jay Crowder's just missing, then they are going to dare him to shoot, and that's just going to really screw up the Phoenix Suns offense if he just can't, if he can't shoot well. And if he can't shoot well, then Monty Williams might actually have to take him off the floor, since, he's becoming an offensive liability, and that's going to kind of hurt your defense. And since, as I said before, Jay Crowder is going to be a guy you'd want on Giannis, since he's proven in the past he can hold his own against guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo. And if you want to try and emulate a wall-style defense that the Raptors used in 2019 and the Miami Heat used in 2020, then, I mean, Jay Crowder, he's going to be a really important part to it. And then Devin Booker, he's also somewhat of an X factor as well, because, I mean, Devin Booker, the first 2 rounds he was really good, and then I believe he suffered like a broken nose, and ever since then, he's been kind of inconsistent, and Devin Booker, hopefully he can kind of recover from that broken nose, and he's definitely going to need to really step it up, and he's got to be consistent throughout the series if Phoenix wants to win their first championship, I believe, in franchise history. Yeah, the first championship in franchise history. So Devin Booker is a guy who, I mean, he's definitely going to be an X factor. Obviously, he's the best player on the team. And then, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say for the Phoenix Suns. So getting to the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously this team is really, really good. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's one of the best players in the NBA. Now, I mean, he is dealing with that injury, so, I mean, that's something. But yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo, this man is one of the best players in the NBA. Not much else I really have to say. You got Chris Middleton, all-star level player, very good. He does have consistency issues in the playoffs, but he is, I mean, he's been decent in the playoffs, I'd say. He's still a pretty good player. And then you got Jrue Holiday, who's one of the best two-way guards in the league. And again, like Chris Middleton, he's had consistency issues in the playoffs, but even then he's still a really solid player. And of course, you got good role players. Brook Lopez, good defensive big, good stretch big, and he can also score inside. I mean, you got Pat Connaughton. Man, who else? You got PJ Tucker, a lot of good role players on this team, to really put it. Oh yeah, you got Bobby Portis, really just a very, very good team. So, Milwaukee, I mean, what can I really say? They got a really good team. Now, getting to the matchups of how they're going to match up against the Bucks, I mean, I'd probably put Jrue Holiday on Chris Paul or Devin Booker. Maybe they decide to put him on Chris Paul since he's a much better playmaker than Devin Booker, and if they can, really slow down Chris Paul, then that could definitely stagnate the Phoenix Suns offense, since they're gonna have to take a lot of tough shots, due to the lack of playmaking if Chris Paul just is not playing well. So, I mean, I'd definitely put him on Chris Paul or Devin Booker. I guess you can choose. And then I think Pat Connaughton might start in this series, since Pat Connaughton, he's a pretty good defensive guard. And I mean, obviously, I don't know if he would shut down Devin Booker, but I mean, Jrue Holiday, I mean, I guess you'd put him on whoever Jrue Holiday is not gonna guard. So Devin Booker or what's his name? God. Devin Booker or Chris Paul. Yeah, sorry, I had a brain fart there. And then there's Chris Middleton. Maybe you do put him on one of the guards, but I mean, maybe you do. That's definitely a possibility. But he can also be just a guard like some role player, like one of their Phoenix's wing players. So maybe you do that. And then there's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Maybe you do put him on DeAndre Ayton. But now that I think about it, maybe you do put him on Devin Booker if you really just want to, or Chris Paul if you really just want to make sure that, hey, you know what? I want to take away one of these guys. All right, I want to take them away. Giannis can definitely, I think Giannis can do that. So maybe you do put Giannis on them. I mean, it's possible you do that. I don't know. I mean, the matchups, I mean, I guess you could put Giannis on like whoever. And then DeAndre Ayton, your matchup would be Giannis or Brook Lopez, since Brook Lopez is a really good defensive big. But I guess that's kind of all I have to say for the matchups. Now, big X factors for the series, this is going to be quite a bit. One X factor is going to have to be Giannis's health, since, I mean, I'm recording this minutes before the finals, and I did see that I think his status is going to be like a game time decision. So, I mean, if Giannis can be like at least 85% of what he normally is, obviously that's going to be really good for the Milwaukee Bucks. That's going to be really important. So he's going to definitely need to play very well, and hopefully he can play a majority of this series. If he does miss the first two games, then the Milwaukee Bucks could be in a lot of trouble. Next X factor, it's going to have to be Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday, since, as I said before, these guys have struggled with consistency in the playoffs, and they're going to need to be more consistent if Phoenix does want to, if the Milwaukee Bucks do want to end up, winning the finals, because Giannis cannot do it all by himself, obviously, and Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday have to be those secondary scorers. And if Giannis does miss part of this series, they're going to have to take over as that number one option and be that go-to guy that can get them a bucket. So obviously they are going to need to be consistent in this series, and as long as in the games in which Giannis is out, they're going to need to play their very best basketball. So obviously they are going to be very big X factors. Another X factor, I think this is going to be kind of weird, but it's going to be the coaching of Mike Budenholzer, since Mike Budenholzer in the past, as I alluded to earlier, I believe, I mean, he's had issues when it comes to adjustments, and Mike Budenholzer, I mean, I think he needs to really adjust in this series. In my opinion, when Giannis gets back, you might want to go small, since they're just going to match up a lot better, where you put Giannis at center, and then You also put, PJ Tucker at power forward, and then you put like Chris Middleton at small forward. Maybe you put Pat Connaughton at shooting guard. I mean, yeah, I definitely just put Giannis at center, to be honest. So, I mean, Mike Budenholzer, he's definitely going to need to make adjustments. So, if they really do want to win this series. So, Mike Budenholzer, he's really going to have to make adjustments, as I said before. And he's going to be a big X factor, since if he can't make adjustments, then the Milwaukee Bucks, their offense is going to become stagnant. And that could really cost, them in this series. And along with that, on defense too, I forgot to mention this, but I mean, the reason why I want them to go small is because they match up a lot better, and Chris Paul and Devin Booker have really been killing, bigs that go into drop coverage, since in pick and rolls, when they gotta switch it, they gotta drop back, they're gonna drop back, and I mean, they are very good mid-range shooters, so, I mean, they're probably gonna hit it. So, yeah, that's another X factor for the Milwaukee Bucks. But yeah, I guess getting to my prediction, I'm gonna have to go with the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. Now, I do want to say, I'm gonna only go with them in 6 games if Giannis misses the first 2 games of this series. If he only misses 1, or if he does play the entire series, then I'm gonna go the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games, since I personally think the Bucks are I guess you could say a little more talented. I think they are a little more talented. But the reason why I go 7 games is because it's kind of hard to trust the Bucks, given the fact that Mike Budenholzer, I mean, he does struggle when it comes to making adjustments. I will say he's done a much better job in years past. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm gonna be somewhat realistic. I'm gonna say Giannis misses the first 1 to 2 games. I guess I'm gonna go Suns in 6 games. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. Of course, make sure to like if you enjoyed, as it really helps out the channel, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy this type of content, so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'm finally going to do a face reveal. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.